All right, everybody, it's that time. That time to welcome to Totally Driven Radio. Somebody you might know as being one of the front women of the band that's taking the metal world by storm, the Butcher Babies. Or you might know this person as from the world of comic books, from the world of TV, from the world of theater, from the world. The list keeps going on and on. Let's welcome to Totally Driven Radio, the one and only Miss CARLA HARVEY. CARLA, how you doing tonight?
Hey, that's a whole lot of worlds that I'm involved in, it sounds like. You made me sound pretty cool, so thanks.
You know what? I'll tell you what. And it's kind of funny because, like, when you guys first came onto my radar, like 2-3 years ago, from somebody posted on the site Metal Sludge about you guys. So I checked it out, and you're, being a guy, the first thing you say is, wow, look at this. And you're getting all into it. And then, like, about a year ago, when I really started looking into you guys, I'm like, I want to try to get them to come on the show. So I started looking into you guys, and I go on your website, and I find, like, all this stuff you're into. And I'm just like, wow, like, I got tired reading it all.
Not all broads are one-dimensional. Me and Heidi are pretty cool chicks, so.
But now you're taking on the world as a real author as well. So, like, your list of your resume is growing.
Yeah, well, I'm a creative person, and I think that, ever since I was a kid, comic books and metal music and drawing, that was my whole life. So for me, it's not anything that's new or different. It's not weird that I'm into a lot of stuff to me because this is what I've always loved to do. And I always knew that I would write a book. So finally, I figured out what I wanted to write about, and I did it.
Now, being that you were involved in doing various different comic books and stuff in the comic book world, did that, like, inspire you to go to the next step and write an actual book?
Well, I actually toyed with writing a book first and then the comic books after, but I kind of put the book on hold because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to write about for quite a while. It wasn't until I started working in a hospice a few years back that I found what I really wanted to write about, and that was the correlation that I found between a couple of different careers that I had. I was a dancer. It's not a big secret to anyone that I was a stripper for years, and after mortuary college, I worked in a hospice, and I had this weird feeling that the customers that I had in the club were the same. They had the same feelings as the ones that I had in hospice. People, in both cases, people were very lonely, and just a simple touch, a hug, holding your hand, really. And human touch has the power to heal all of us if we allow it into our lives.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, two different ends of the spectrum there, where you're talking about working in the world of hospice and then working as a stripper, and it's kind of weird how you put, like, the two together.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's for me, it wasn't weird. I remember kind of feeling a feeling of deja vu when I was holding one of my patients' hand one day, and I realized that I had been doing exactly that my whole life, helping people through the power of touch. And a lot of the clients that I had in the club, it wasn't about getting lap dances or anything like that. It was just about holding my hand and having a conversation with me because they didn't have anyone to talk to, whether their wife or was just interested after 20 years or they didn't have a wife at all or if they were just, whatever their story was. I found that just talking to people and holding their hands was enough. It wasn't all about sex or lap dancing or anything like that. And in hospice, I actually had 2 patients that got better. They had been abandoned by their families in hospice, and they actually got better when someone started visiting them on a frequent basis and just holding their hand and talking to them and listening to them and, just showing them affection. And as I said, people today, I think, are very disconnected from each other, and it's strange because we live in a time when we are able to be more connected than ever, through the internet and everything, but we don't reach out as human beings and hold each other's hands or touch each other until it's too late sometimes. So
right.
It's a subject that's very dear to my heart, and I wanted to explore more, and I ended up learning a lot about myself while writing the book and my issues with loneliness and alienation.
And you say the book is semi-autobiographical. Yeah, like I can say that word. Now, how much of you is really in this book, or is there a lot more than there really is, and you're trying to hide it behind different names and places?
No, I'd say the book is pretty honest and pretty straightforward, and it's obviously me. But I'm a big fan of writers like Bukowski who use aliases to write their stories. I don't like the word memoir because I think it's kind of cheesy, and I feel like if you're in a band and you write a book, write a memoir, people expect it to be about being in a band. And my book has nothing to do with me being in a band. It's something that I wanted to write for a long time. And so I wanted to avoid that word. And I think that also with semi-autobiographical or creative nonfiction, you're allowed to tell your story without people judging it as hard, or other people who were involved in the story saying, well, that's not how it happened, because there is three sides to every story. This, and this book is about how I saw things that I was going through. This is my point of view, and someone else who was in the story might see it a little differently than me.
And you said you kind of learn more about yourself with this, and on the show I talk about many times where I'm in therapy myself, and my therapists have always said to me write stuff down. If there's something you're having problems with, write it down. This way you can just let that out. Was it kind of the same thing for you with this?
It was. One of the most important things I learned in mortuary school when I was learning how to help grieving people was to let them talk and to get them to write things down, and to just, like I said, let them speak what they need to speak about. And so allowing myself to write down these thoughts that I had even kind of kept from myself, if you will, really allowed me to heal from some things that had happened to me in my past, and let me face some things that I had done in my past, and let me get ready to move on with my life and make the most of it. It was a very cathartic experience.
Now, how about what was the final thing that really made you say, all right, this is the time now, let's put this book together now?
Okay, well, I guess after I finished, I didn't know if it would be published or not. I didn't know if anyone would care to read it, but I was happy that I had just written it. So I sent it out with some publishers, and everybody who read it loved it. But one thing that let me know it was time to put it out right now was the response that I got. One of the responses from the publishers was that they wanted to wait until my band got bigger to put the book out. And immediately I knew that they weren't the publisher for me, and I didn't want to wait for something like that. Because for me, it's not about money or anything like that. It's about getting something that I created out there. Most of my happiness comes from the creative process in all of my projects. And then the other thing was that I had one publishing company tell me that I needed to make my book more Oprah's Book Club friendly and more relatable to women, and they're like, no one relates to this girl who was a stripper and a mortician and is now in a band. Like, no one's going to relate to that. And they didn't get it either. I'm like, well, if they can't relate to that stuff, they'll relate to the basic feelings that human beings go through, loneliness, alienation, and all the stuff that I have written in the book. They weren't getting it, They all think they love the story, but they wanted me to make these changes. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm just going to do this right now. I want it out right now. And I'm so glad that I did, because I've gotten great feedback from people of all ages and all genders saying how much they love the book and how, they could really identify with me and a lot of things that I've been through in my life. And, if it reaches people, then I'm super proud of that. And also, if it gets people, my fan base, a bunch of metalheads who don't normally read a book, to read a book, that's fucking awesome.
How about that, right?
Sorry, I hope it was okay.
Yeah, you can curse.
I didn't mean to swear. Sorry.
You can curse. You're fine.
Okay.
Now, something you said there, I know we're going to relate this to music, where, how you wanted to put this out now, and you're excited, and you want to just get it out there for people to read. Can you relate that? I mean, it's got to be very relatable to your music as well, where I know myself when I'm playing in a band, when you come up with new songs or whatever, and you can just feel the intensity in it, and you're looking across the room at your bandmates, and you're like, yes, I know the thing I was always saying to myself was, I can't wait for people to hear this.
Yeah. It's definitely the same. Like, we're releasing an EP. I'm sure you've seen on the internet the last couple of days, we're releasing an EP of cover songs, and we're all so proud of it, and we can't wait for it to get out there, and it sucks. We're waiting for the record label to say, okay, it's time to start releasing these songs now. But with writing my book, it's a little different because I completely controlled it. I don't have a label telling me when and when I can't do it and all that
Right.
kind of stuff. And I thought, like I said, I wanted people to understand that this is me from a completely different direction. This is me as an author, not as Carla from the Butcher Babies. So I wanted to start it off, as kind of a beginning. Sorry, there's all these sirens going off over here. I'm in Hollywood in my car, so there's a lot going on. So,
now,
sorry about that.
That's all right. The book has been getting great reviews. I mean, that's got to be probably fulfilling and exciting for you, but at the same time.
Yeah, it's been really great. And people have been, writing me like different quotes from the book, and like that really inspired them. And I'm like, I forgot I even wrote that. That's great. it's really, same thing with our songs. When I know that people are inspired or that they are touched by something, there's no greater reward as an artist, an author, anything that you can get, rather other than some kid somewhere telling you that they were touched by what you wrote or that they related to it. Like, that's what we all want. Like I said, it's not about money or fame. It's about making the simple connections with other human beings and having them say stuff like that to you.
Right.
It's really special.
And, I mean, if it's meant to be, the other stuff will follow along with it, so.
Yes, I agree.
Now, again, like we started the interview off, all the things you're involved in. Like, when you were writing this book, is it a thing like, do you usually set up scheduled time each day to all right, I'm going to work on a book now a little bit and
my
music here. And...
My schedule was so crazy when I was writing this book that most of it was written after we played shows, after the night was over and everyone went to their bunks. I would stay up for a while and write, about an hour a night. So a lot of it was done then, and so it was very, very hard for me to find the time. But when you love to do something, you find the time to do it.
Sure. Now, the book is called Death and Other Dances. Is there any special meaning behind that?
Well, there's an old drawing, and it's called Dance of the Macabre or Dance of Death, and I always loved that image. And then, obviously my book centers on growing up and then becoming a dancer and then working in the death industry. So I thought it was a clever title, and I think it's pretty unique.
And, in the world today of, especially in the music business, you see so many musical artists, especially in the world of hard rock and metal, they're doing, 3-4 different musical projects where you're doing all these other projects, whether it's, books or comic books or whatever it may be. Is that more like your creative outlet, or could we end up seeing, Butcher Babies and then you maybe doing something solo, or...
Right now, I think that all of us in our band agree that if we went out and did solo music projects, it would be kind of it just wouldn't be right now. We're all so involved in our band, and we're still basically a new band, even though we've been touring relentlessly for the last couple of years. But it's important for us to be a unit and to get all of our stuff out there. And I wouldn't want to spread myself that thin by doing solo stuff, and I think the rest of the band agrees. Right now we're in the middle of writing our second album, and I want all my good stuff to go there.
Right. Now that the first book is officially under your belt, will there be an itch to do it more and more?
Oh, there's been an itch to do more. I've started writing my second novel, which is more of I'm a huge fan of Henry Rollins, and I love his tour, diaries and stuff, like get in the van and see a grown man cry and I'll watch him die, that kind of stuff. So I'm working on a book that's kind of like that, and then I'll probably do a follow-up or even something like so books right now with Butcher Babies that which is a great thing,
Right.
That it takes all my time.
Busy.
It's good to be busy, though. It keeps you motivated.
Absolutely. All right, so the book, like I said, it's called Death and Other Dances. It's out now. It's available at Amazon and I guess all your fine bookstores out there, right?
Yeah, it'll be in bookstores soon. It's on Kindle. It's on Amazon, Amazon Europe, and you can also get autographed copies straight from me on my Big Cartel site. That's www.carlaharvey.bigcartel.com.
Cool. And, all right, something I was thinking, too. Being that you're involved in so much, if you were told tomorrow there's only one thing you're allowed to do, there's no more Carla being author, Carla being musician, Carla being this, Carla being that. If you only had one choice to do, what would it be?
I think that's pretty simple. I think music encompasses everything I've ever been interested in my entire life. You know, when you're on stage, you're an athlete, you're an actress, you're a musician. When you're in the writing process, you are an author and composer and everything. So music is definitely my whole life and the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, it does kind of wrap everything up in one. So
it really does.
All right, so then you guys have the EP, like you said, Uncovered, coming out actually next month. Almost just about a month away. And, we got to get you to come back on so we can talk about that, because I want to talk about the Osmonds. I'm a little perturbed, not perturbed, a little confused by the whole Osmonds choice, but, we can say that for another time.
Choice. It's great. Heidi chose that song because her mom was a huge Osmonds fan, and she was inspired by that song when she was a little girl. She thought it had a great guitar riff back then, so she chose that one. I chose the They're Coming to Take Me Away song because my stepdad used to listen to it all the time in the car when I was a kid. So we all picked a song, and it was a really cool experience picking the songs and then making them into Butch Baby song, tearing them apart and rewriting them. I can't wait for you to hear it.
Yeah, that should be pretty killer. I mean, I'm very interested to hear. I'm actually interested to hear all of it, of course, but I mean, I'm kind of like, by choosing something like the Osmonds for you guys, that's something I always felt like metal bands should do. Like, do something off the wall that people wouldn't expect. Don't do like, Sabbath or Motorhead or something like that. Like the Osmonds is the total other end of the spectrum that people are probably just like myself a little confused by.
Yeah, well, it's a great song if you listen to it. It's got a really, really cool riff in it, and like I said, I can't wait for you to hear it because it is really unique the way we did it.
Nice. And you guys actually kick off your tour in, 2 weeks, it looks like?
We do Aftershock Festival in mid-September, and then we hit the road September 27th, starting off in Phoenix, and we do a national tour. It's our first big headlining tour, so we're all really stoked about that.
Nice. Yeah, you roll into Philly in October 11th.
Awesome.
Very
cool. See you there?
I think so, yes.
Great. Awesome.
Cool. And I think there was something else. No, I guess not. All right. I guess that's it. So everybody go to Amazon, buy the book, Death and Other Dances from Carla, and also be on the lookout for the new EP from the Butcher Babies coming out next month. And there you go. And Carla, before I let you go, if I could just get you to cut a quick ID for me.
Sure.
This is Carla Harvey of the Butcher Babies, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Okay. Whenever?
Whenever. Go ahead.
This is Carla Harvey from the Butcher Babies, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Awesome. Carla, thanks so much. Good luck with everything, and see you next month, or actually 2 months.
Thank you. All right, see you then. Bye.
Yep, bye.